Hi, I'm Nestor. In 2025, I started a new chapter in my life. It started with a simple question. After nearly 4 decades in technology as a developer, systems engineer, project manager, PMO leader, consultant, and entrepreneur, I had spent my entire career helping organizations to transform ideas into successful projects. I had managed complex initiatives, led digital transformations, built teams, solved problems, and helped companies to navigate through change. From the outside, everything seems to make sense. But one day, I stopped and asked myself a question I had never seriously asked before. What's my next step? Not my next project, not my next client, not even my next job, just my next chapter. It surprised me because after years of helping organizations to plan their future with discipline and structure, I realized I had never applied that same level of intentional planning to my own life. And that simple question became the beginning of everything that followed. That question stayed with me for weeks. At the time, I was in my mid-50s, and life looked very different than it had just a few years earlier. My three daughters had graduated and were building lives of their own. After decades focused on family responsibilities and a demanding professional career, I finally had something I hadn't had in a long time: the freedom to choose. Of course, I still needed an income. That hadn't changed. But for the first time, I realized I didn't want to make my next decision based only on necessity. I didn't want to ask what the next job I can get. I wanted to ask a different question. What kind of impact do I want to make with the years I have ahead? What work will truly inspire me? How could I use everything I had learned over nearly 4 years to create something meaningful? The more I reflected on those questions, the more I realized something important. I wasn't the only one asking them. Every day, thousands of experienced professionals reach a similar crossroads. Some are changing careers. Some have lost their jobs. Some feel stuck. Some are preparing for retirement. Others simply wake up one day and realize that success alone is not longer enough. They all ask the same question in different ways. Now what? And that's when I realized this wasn't just my story. It was a challenge shared by millions of people looking for clarity about what comes next. As I reflected on everything I had accomplished through my career, one thought kept coming back to me. For nearly 4 years, I had relied on project management to solve complex problems, whether it was implementing an ERP system, leading a digital transformation, building a PMO, or managing strategic initiatives. The approach was always the same. We never started with random actions. We started with clarity. We understood where we were. We defined where we wanted to go. We created a plan. We executed it, measured progress, learned, adapted, and kept moving forward. Then one day I asked myself a question that completely changed my perspective. Why was I applying these principles to every important project except the most important one of all, my own life? That idea stayed with me. The more I thought about it, the more obviously it became. Project management is not just about delivering projects. At its core, it's about turning uncertainty into clarity. It's about transforming an idea into reality. So I wonder, what if those same principles could help people design the next chapter of their lives? Not by treating life like a business project, but by giving people a structured way to reflect, make better decisions, define meaningful goals, and move forward with confidence. That single question became the foundation of everything that followed. It became the inspiration for Proyectize Life, a personal development framework inspired by proven project management principles. A methodology to help people turn meaningful ideas into reality. One morning, I sat at my desk and did something I had never done before. Instead of updating a project plan for a company or a client, I decided to create one for myself. I started looking back over nearly 4 decades of experience. I remember writing my first computer program in 1985. I remembered building one of my first business intelligence solutions in 2002, long before dashboards became common. I remembered leading ERP implementations, digital transformations, agile initiatives, PMOs, and technology programs that impacted thousands of people. Then I asked myself, what if all of those experiences were not just memories, but assets? So I made an inventory, not of my possessions, but of my knowledge, skills, relationships, lessons, passions, and values. Then I create another list, not a to-do list, a life backlog. Everything I wanted to build during this new chapter, a meaningful business, a personal framework, a website, books and practical guides, a professional brand, a community, digital tools that could help others. Instead of trying to build everything at once, I did what I had done throughout my career. I defined a vision, built a roadmap, broke into small achievable sprints, and simple started. That wasn't just the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. It was the first real implementation of what would become Proyectize Life. Throughout my career, I never questioned the value of having a methodology. If a company wanted to launch a product, transfer technology, or execute a strategic initiative, nobody would say, let's just figure it out as we go. We use proven frameworks. We define goals. We created roadmaps. We measure progress. We learned and adapted. Then one day, I realized something surprising. When it comes to the most important project of all, our own lives, we usually do the opposite. We wait, we react, we improvise. Often, we don't stop until something forces us to. Losing a job, feeling stuck, wondering what's next, reaching a stage where success is no longer feels enough. Realizing we have decades of experience but not clear direction of applying it. The problem is not a lack of talent, it's not a lack of motivation, it's a lack of structure. You don't need to reinvent yourself. You need a way to transform everything you already lived into a deliberate plan for what comes next. That's why Proyectize Life is not simple about inspiration. It's about applying proven project management principles to design the next chapter of your life with clarity, purpose, and action.